Good evening or afternoon, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to an extra special episode of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and I'm joined today by Tony Robinson for an interview of Accrington Stanley's Joe Maguire. Now, Joe is a guy who started out his career with the Liverpool Academy, has spent some time with Fleetwood, Crawley Town, and made his way over to Accrington this year, where he's made some starts at the left back position. Welcome to the show, Joe. We're really looking forward to talking with you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be on. Like I was reiterating before, I'm looking forward to putting a little bit of a platform out there for the fans so they can keep up to date with the players.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be nice to chat with you. We've had a run of people from Liverpool, so it's nice to get somebody on from Manchester. Yeah. I mean, everyone does think I'm from Liverpool, the amount of time I spent there. But yeah, I think once they hear me talk, they can tell I'm definitely not a Scouser. Yeah.
So that was actually one of the first things that we did want to ask you is being from Manchester. How was it that you ended up at the Liverpool Academy? I think you started off there at, 8 years old when I read that you started at the Liverpool Academy.
Yeah, it was a fun one, really. Obviously, with everyone in my family, they're all Man United fans. But at first, I was with Man City. It's crazy how young we get kids these days. How young they start at football clubs. But yeah, at first, I think I was 6 or 7 at City, and Liverpool just came in. And at the time, I was thinking, there's no chance I'll obviously go to Liverpool. I'm back in Manchester. I'll be at City. Even though I'm a United fan, I'll obviously stay here. And after one day of being at Liverpool and being around their academy and meeting everyone there, you can just tell how much of a close-knit family club it is. And I've said it before in interviews, Accrington's not too obviously different. Obviously, size of club and the stature of it, obviously, there's Liverpool and Accrington, but Accrington's a really nice family club and the fans really interact with the players and you feel really connected. So I felt, privileged to be back involved with that, where I probably didn't get that in my last few clubs.
And now, one thing that you did do when you were at Liverpool is you did make a first team start in the League Cup in 2016 against Exeter City. What was that like to get to play for the first team? It was the FA Cup. I'm sorry, the FA Cup.
Yeah, the FA Cup. Yeah. Well, it was a surprise, really, but obviously, it was an honour. It's one of them. I was at the club for 12 years, so it just felt like all them sacrifices and hard work that obviously you put into it. Where obviously when you start an academy, especially somewhere like Liverpool, from at the age of 8 onwards, when I was there, you spend pretty much every evening there. So you sacrifice most of your child going there and learning and obviously developing as a person, and obviously becoming a better footballer. So it just felt like all the dedication I put into it. It was a lot of time that I put in and heart and effort and sacrifices. It all seemed to pay off then also at one moment. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that had to be a thrill to get on the pitch there with the first team in front of a big crowd like that. And then when you left Liverpool, then your next stop was you signed with Fleetwood Town in 2017. And my understanding was that I had read that John Coleman had actually at that point had talked to you about Accrington also. So you had a couple choices back there at 17, and it ended up going with Fleetwood, correct?
Well, that's the first I've heard that I had the option with the gaffer to come to Accrington. I never knew, so maybe he obviously spoke with my agent and never got passed back to me, which is a shame because it's something I definitely would have considered. Because I had a few ex-players that I obviously played with at Liverpool. I think Lloyd Jones had a little spell at Accrington and said how much he enjoyed it. So, I didn't know they were actually interested at the time. But yeah, so I opted for Fleetwood. At the time, Uwe Rosa was a manager there. They'd just got the new training ground and the owners obviously pumping a lot of money into it. So it felt like it was a good type of system to come into. I thought they were on the up. But,
I think Fleetwood at the time, then, if I'm correct, we're sort of on the upward trend, a little more advanced than where Accrington Stanley is these days. They were a little bit ahead of the curve, weren't they?
Yeah. I think budget wise, like you said, that I think the training ground costs 14 million. It's got indoor, outdoor pitches, gym facilities, restaurant, everything. They've got a new stand. They get, the pitch is immaculate. So I think, put a lot of money into it. So especially even this season, you can see the players that they've signed, and obviously the gaffer they've got there with Barton. Probably costs a lot. So you can just tell the difference. Sometimes, the bigger clubs have such a huge budget it helps. It does help, especially in these leagues.
Now, one thing I did want to ask you about it, and I think this is probably something we have to ask about Fleetwood, is Joey Barton, who is the gaffer there. I mean, he's just a huge personality, and of course had a great career. What was it like playing for Joey Barton?
Yeah, well, when I actually went out on loan the season he came, but I managed to spend the pre-season with him. I think I played in the League Cup against Leicester, which obviously a great experience. But yeah, from what I learned from him, he's a very determined manager. Like you said, it is a huge personality to have around. And like you said, he's the alpha. He's very dominant. So he is controllable. And, but that's got his positives. And I think his training methods were great. I think, like you said, he's very cultured. He's been about the block. He's been in many leagues around the world as well. So I have nothing but praise for Joey Barton. He was, when I was there, especially in pre-season, his methods, his coaching style, and his time in management, I thought was spot on. But you can tell he's took that. You can tell he's took it from his experiences as a player, from where he's been.
The people talked to has said, "Well, what a great guy he is when you're part of the team." He's one of those guys that if he's on your side, he's your favorite guy in the world. If he's on the other side, he's your least favorite guy in the world.
I was just about to say, I was optimistic. So obviously, you hear a lot in the press in his playing career. Obviously, you're not sure what to expect as him as a manager. But I was nicely surprised. But like you said, if you're on the opposition, then it's a different kettle of fish.
I think too with Joey Barton for his time now managing, I think he's picked up a lot of good skills, as you say, from other places. But his last spell there with Burnley and playing under Sean Dyche, and then going into management, and Sean Dyche has got obviously an outstanding reputation as a manager. I'm pretty sure that Joey would have picked things up from his time at Burnley.
Yeah, definitely. I agree completely. Like you said, Dyche is such a disciplined manager, and this style and his work ethic that he puts into Burnley. I mean, there's things that Joey would say whilst we're training, and he'd bring up quotes from Dyche and training methods that he used. For example, there was a day where it was just Gaffer's Day. There was no ball, no drinks, no food. Just bring your running trainers. And there's barrels out the pitches. There's sledges. There was benches, and it was like full-on day of 6 hours of hard graft. And that was Sean Dyche who created that. And they Burnley do that every pre-season. It's called Gaffer's Day, but they don't tell you when it is. And it just surprises you on the day, and you've just got to go and do it.
Yeah.
And it's basically they film it as well to see who the weak ones are, and they put it back in video in the meeting room. So
that sounds like something else.
There's a point, I think we did it for 3 hours, and we'd thought it was like, right, well done, lads, you're done. And we were sat there, and next thing you know, you hear it like 5 minutes from change rooms, you hear a whistle, and he boots the door through, and he's like, what, about swearing. He's like, what are you doing? Get back outside. You think that's it? And they actually put a camera in the change rooms to see if we'd fall for it. But a few of the lads have had an experience. They're like, no, he's going to come back. And he came back and we were out for another 3 hours.
Well, I could bet if Joey Barton went through it, he's going to put his players through it.
Yeah,
exactly. I think the thing is, though, he's that competitive. He was actually shouting at us saying, Burnley do this, we're going to do an extra hour. He's like, you work harder than them. So he's like being competitive against Dyche, I think. I think he said he was going to tell Dyche that we'd do an extra hour than them. So he put us right through.
So he's saying, if they're going to do it for 4 hours, we're going to do it for 5 hours, and that's got to outwork everybody else.
It's funny how their things tie in with each other. And as we talked to Mark Hughes, who when he was coming into the start of his career, played alongside Sean Dyche. And now Sean Dyche is managing Burnley. You play alongside Mark Hughes. And Joey Barton came from Burnley. So it's the thing. Paths just crossing football, I guess.
Yeah, well, the thing is with football, throughout your career, and you play with so many players, and you think that everyone loses contact, but in the end, you always catch up with each other. You always bump into each other. You're always at a game where, like, the other players that you've not played with for 10 years might appear out of nowhere. That it's such a funny game. You never seem to actually lose contact, and that's a good thing about obviously sport in general. I think the relationships you make, because they're just on field. Sometimes it might not be friendly outside of the field, but on the pitch, when you've shared that bond of full 90 minutes of like hard graft and battle and win or lose, you always seem to stay in, respective contact.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing we hear from players is the friendships they develop. It's not only good for the time you're in football, but also for when you get out of football. You never know when these contacts are going to come into play.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm still in contact with everyone at Liverpool. They're constantly emailing me, calling me, or texting me weekly just to check up how I am. And that's the director, that's the coaches. And that sometimes they're even asking me for their players, like, what can we learn? What have you done in, obviously, the Football League? What can I tell my players? Sometimes we'll go in, we'll speak to them. There's always stuff, and there's always like people that you can learn from and give advice to in this game, especially.
Well, when you were at starting your professional contract career at Liverpool, is that at the time when Jurgen Klopp was coming in?
No, Brendan Rodgers was still there.
Was he still there? Okay.
So I went on pre-season tour with Rodgers. I think it was Malaysia.
Okay.
So it was Bangkok, Adelaide, Brisbane, and Kuala Lumpur. And then he went that following season, and that's when I made my debut in Klopp's first season.
Oh, okay. So you
so you got to play for two real good managers.
Yeah. Well, with Rodgers, I was on the bench in the Premier League quite a few times. So I was on the verge that season before. So it was one of them where when he left, I was like, oh, this can work one way or the other. Obviously, when a new gaffer comes in, it's basically a blank sheet, isn't it? So you start again. You've got to prove yourself. Because I was so close with Rodgers and I was full time there as a first team player. I was like, right, let's roll up my sleeves. I've got to go again now.
Now, when you said you went out on loan with Fleetwood, and that's when you went over to Crawley Town, and you made 24 starts with them in 2018-19, and that was kind of your breakout season. That was the most you had played in any season up to that point in your career. How was that time at Crawley? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was vital, really. It was something I was really pushing for on the deadline day. I was originally meant to go to Crewe, Alexander. Obviously, that's closer to home. And obviously, they're quite an established club. But when Crawley came in, I had to jump at it because I needed games, and I needed that season where I think overall I had 31 appearances. I needed the 30-plus games because I was ready. And it just didn't seem to happen at Fleetwood, so it was vital. And Crawley's a great club. Obviously they was in League One at one point. But it's good for me to just maybe get away from my surroundings, get away from my family, get away from my friends, and just be a pure football. Just go there, enjoy it, and just play. And that's all I had to focus on. I think I had Airbnb. I wasn't staying much, a little one bedroom thing, and that's all I needed. And it was literally just hard work, and that, I think that's something I need to get back to. Maybe I lost that a little bit at Fleetwood. Maybe with my naivety and my temperament. Obviously, everyone's different. At work when you're not reaching the goals you're reaching, it does anger you. It does sometimes make you lose track or get distracted. So I think it was good to go to Crawley, get back playing, and really just fall back in love of the game and fall back in love with being back on that pitch and get that feeling at 3:00 on a Saturday. I think that's what I needed. So that was vital.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely understand what you're saying. Just kind of looking at things here, for instance, in 2017-18, you made 2 appearances with Fleetwood, and I imagine going out and training hard every single day, and then only getting on twice probably makes for a difficult season. Yeah,
well, it was frustrating because I think my first game for Fleetwood, in which was a great season, that was when we got to the playoffs. We played Scunthorpe away, we were top of the league, and that was to overtake them. And we won 2-0, and I got man of the match. And then I didn't seem to play then for the rest of I think I made a couple more for the rest of the season. And then the next game for that was, I think we had MK Dons, and that was under John Sheridan. and I got man of the match. I didn't seem to play then for like 2 months. So it was a really weird season, or couple of seasons I was there for, where I didn't seem to get that run. But each game I came into it, I got man of the match.
Yeah, so you were coming in and producing, and it just couldn't seem to get on the pitch. So I can imagine that makes it even more frustrating. Now this year with Accrington, you've made 10 starts at left back, and of course that the season has been put on hold, or I'm sure you have more than that. But one of the things that I've noticed is that on the pitch, you're a guy who covers a lot of ground. You're very active in terms of your tackle numbers, your crosses in the box, and in 10 games, in 11 games in the league this year, you've hit 44 crosses into the box, 14 tackles won, 15 interceptions. So you're a guy that's just out there filling up the stat sheet. But one thing that really stuck out to me here when I was looking at, and this is a stat that to me is really big for defenders, and this is a stat that Tony would probably know very well from hockey, which is plus minus. What I had seen here is that right now on the season, that Accrington is a +4 in terms of goals scored when you're on the pitch, which is actually twice the average of if you're not on the pitch. So right now, anytime you're coming on the pitch, your contributions on offense and defense are leading to a positive ratio, and that's the biggest number that I look at defenders. I don't know if you had seen any of those numbers yet, but I just wanted to point them out because they've definitely been impressive for you this year.
That is the first I've heard. And like I said, I don't see too many stats, but that is important. I think if the gaffer looks at his players and his defenders and sees them sort of stats, they're the ones that you're going to want on the pitch, and they're the ones that you're going to trust. And that has been a big thing for me, because when I started the season, we were performing well, but we were just letting so many goals in. I think that's been a pet ache for us all season. I think something we've probably not got a consistent back four, which hasn't helped. I think definitely something we need to work on is getting that consistent back four and consistently not conceding goals. And if we can get that as a full and get that plus throughout the back four, including the keeper with a back five, I think that's going to be a big bonus for us, because we've got goals up top. At the minute, like you said, last few games possibly, it's not been there, but I think you can definitely see the goals in Dion, Clicker, Colby, Sean obviously is injured at the minute, Joe Pritchard, and so on. I think the main thing for us has been consistently not conceding goals. So that is definitely a nice bonus, especially to have on my accolade at the minute at the club.
What you were saying about the consistency at the back line, I seem to remember that at the beginning of the season that you were kind of really starting to get into form, and that you had a head injury that took you out for a few games, and that to me seemed to really kind of knock your season off course.
Yeah. Well, I obviously had the bizarre knockout against Peterborough. That left me concussed for about 3 or 4 weeks, which was quite bizarre after the ball hit me. And then I had, throughout Christmas and New Year, I was off sick for about 4 weeks. I was really bad with the flu. It's been a weird season. I've not had that before. It's a new thing that I've had to deal with. I do a lot of yoga, a lot of Pilates, I do a lot of gym. I do as much as I can on the field. I look after myself really well. So this season's been a really frustrating but really good, obviously testing on mental wise, because there've been injuries that I've not been able to control. They've been out of my hands.
Yeah, that's such a fluke thing, the way you got hit in the head with the ball like that.
Well, you don't. Had you only been on for about 3 minutes, Joe, at the time?
Yeah, I literally just come on. I think that was the first involvement.
Yeah, that's you were on. That was less than a boxing match for the first round of a boxing match, like a knockout.
Oh, it's honestly, it's a funny feeling. So obviously, I don't remember anything, and nothing at all. So until the next day, until I watched the highlights of the game, I didn't know how I'd got knocked out, because I don't remember anyone telling me either. So it was frustrating. Obviously, it was even more sour when I see the result. That's the main thing that really bummed me out. But Yeah, I've had a few now, to be fair, where I've been healed in the face. I've had 25 stitches in my front lip. I was knocked out for about 2 months there when I was at Liverpool. I've had an elbow to the head at Fleetwood when I was concussed. So that's the third one now. So I have to slow down a bit.
There's something you said earlier on, Joel, that I just wanted to sort of go back on was and it's about the mental part of the game, because a lot of us when we watch, we just see what's going on Saturday afternoons. But when you've been picked man of the match and you're doing well, and then all of a sudden you're not picked, or you're dropped for the squad kind of thing, dropped from the first team. How does that play on your mindset?
Yeah, I think it's much easier to probably stay now. I think back then, when I was quite a bit younger, I was maybe 21 at the time, still quite young, and especially mental wise and maturity wise, I didn't deal with it too well. But I'm looking back now, especially I've had it at Accrington, where I've been obviously playing, sometimes out, sometimes in. Obviously having it too consistent, where I find I deal with it better now from that experience. I think where it is, it's just about not being too high or too low. You just need to consistently be at a level where you're just fully focused, and you want the team to win no matter what. Once you get in your mindset, it's much bigger than you. The club's bigger than you. There's fans there that are bigger than you. You need to think about, the main thing is getting them 3 points and winning and getting that club higher up the table. When you realise that, I think sometimes you just need to take the selfishness out of the game. But then that's helped me on a whole, as a person, as a player, as someone that trained and devotes a life to football. I think like yourselves with work, you'll have your good days, bad days. It's just exactly the same with football. It's just how you deal with them. It's learning mental wise. I think the big thing was we had a psychologist at Liverpool, and that was a major plus. And I think she was Ivy, she was called. She was a psychologist for the Great Britain Olympics team. And when you hear the feedback that you get and from they've listened to, you realise how much of it is so mental, and you have this chip on your shoulder that you need to eradicate. And it's tough. It's not easy, but as long as you just sit back and evaluate and see the bigger picture, I think everything ends up working out.
Yeah, I think now you're at 24 years of age. Football wise, you could be called a veteran, and that maturity is sort of helping you find that level keel where you said you don't get too high, you don't get too low.
Yeah, that's all right. It is. You just got to focus on each day, each training session as it comes, and everything will take care of itself. That's how it's been for me now.
And don't you find with John Coleman too? And my observation of John would be that once he gives a player a chance and the player has a good run, he's pretty loyal to the player. You pretty well got to play yourself out of form, so to speak. He likes to let a player show themselves when they've got form.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll be honest. He's probably one of the best coaches, if not very, very up there, best coaches I've worked with. Him and Jimmy and John, honestly, all of them, I can't say enough praise for them. Their man management and how they give you the confidence to just go out and play and just have that freedom and really just push you. They don't hold back. And the amount they give you and back you as a player, it's a great feeling, and everyone gets that vibe here, especially when you come into the team. You'll know here, you train well that week, you will play no matter what. If you try and you work hard, the hardest there, and it's shown, and they can see that you're playing. There's no favourites. It's the best player, the best trainer they play. And it's good to see, because at other teams you'll see them where they might have the favourites, or they might have these players that have the bad game and so on, or the bad weeks, and they can do that and they let off of it. But here, week in, week out, it's the best player, the best trainer, and they play. And they just give you confidence and abundance each day, the way they speak with you and everything, the way they push you.
While you're on the subject of John Coleman and his speeches, I understand that John has some pretty legendary halftime speeches that he can give from time to time. Have you had a chance to hear one of those yet?
Oh no, I've had a few kit baskets kicked my way. I have it that way. I've had a few things smashed, a few Yeah, I've had to duck out of a few things. I'll just leave it at that. You can use your imagination of what sort of stuff happens.
Well, when you were interviewed not that long ago, you actually said that you know what the manager wants, and now it's just a question of you going out to and delivering that. So I guess it takes an adjustment period for you to figure out when you're at a new club, what the manager wants. What you got that figured out, away you go.
Yeah, of course. And I think one of the biggest understandings I've got out of that as well is something that I've took personally as well. Most of the time, it's your own quality that manager has chosen to because of what they've seen in you already. So it's not in the fact you can't overthink it. It's like, oh, this manager has this style, so like I need to really change my game. I really need to do all this. I need to, adjust that here. But really, they've signed you because they've seen you and seen what you've got already. So it's more in the fact that he just spoke to me and just said, look, I've seen what you like. So when I think about my crosses a lot, or my defending crosses, he's seen that and he's told me, that's your game. I'm not going to fill your head with all this sort of stuff. I signed you because that's what I want you to bring to the team. So, it was just more of a just.
Well, I think the stats that I read off earlier show that is exactly what you're bringing to the team. And like I said, I just love watching you play because you seem to be one of those guys that wherever the ball is on the pitch, you're not far away from it. You kind of have a nose for the ball, I've noticed.
Yeah, definitely. That's just my appetite for the game, my love for the game. And like I said, I can't help that. Sometimes I'm probably too eager to get to the ball, but that's just me playing with freedom, and that's what the gaffer wants.
In this day and age, though, we've got you've got the position of fullback and then almost a sort of a wingback position. Would you describe yourself more of a wingback or more of a fullback?
Predominantly, I'd probably say fullback, but like I said, I think it's just. With this day and age, is that the fullback is expected now to be like a winger, is expected to be like an out-and-out fullback against, obviously defending against wingers. I think the game for fullbacks has just developed so much in the last decade or so. That is the expected style of fullbacks. They are meant to get forward, they are meant to get back, they are meant to do all them jobs. I think it's become really a good position now to be involved in. I probably couldn't have picked it at a better time because it's probably the most exciting position to play.
We were talking to Sam Finley the other day, and he said he's developing a good relationship on his side with Callum Johnson and with Jordan Clark, where they can get that give and go and that they understand and see the play sort of advancing in front of them. Are you developing any of those relationships on your side of the pitch?
Well, it's been a tricky one this season, to be honest. Because Sean started off with the problem left winger, but with him getting his injury, Joe Pritchard's come into the picture. So it has chopped and changed a little bit. And like you said, with it being my first season, it's probably just trying to find that comfortable partnership where obviously with Mark Hughes, for example, if I talk with someone on my right-hand side, we've definitely got that relationship where we know each other's game. We know how comfortable Mark is on the ball. We know how much he plays. So kind of how to rely on him in certain situations. But with obviously the winger type, I'm probably still learning, keep obviously carry on working out in the training ground with the wingers, trying to build that bond, trying to build that relationship. But, I think if Sean probably wasn't injured, it probably would have been more of a consistent partnership with Sean because he has been the left winger. But unfortunately, with his awful injury, coming in. But, Joe Pritchard's a great player. He's a very exciting player. I probably tell him to pass me the ball more in the overlap, but I'll keep that. But no, I think we are building that relationship, and we do have a laugh about that most days. Sometimes we're giving a good kicking on Saturdays, but so it's something that builds over time. And like I said, Callum and Clicker and Sam, they've been at the club for quite a few years now, and they've played with each other quite a lot, most games. So they've built that over time.
You mentioned Clicker, which and the nicknames that players have. Have you got a nickname at the club?
Well, 2 Joes at the club. So
yeah, we already had Joe Bursick on yesterday's. It's kind of a Joe week happening here.
Yeah, some of the lads have such rubbish banter where they're saying Joe, and all 3 of us are looking. We don't know which Joe it is, and so We should have a nickname, but I think everyone's done it on purpose, just trying to wind us up now. It's mostly because obviously we get on quite a bit, so most of the time people will be trying to give us a lot of stick. Yeah, we probably should be having a nickname because there's 3 Joes in the team. That can't be right now. Every time they shout Joe, we're all looking over.
Yeah, like George Foreman's house. George Foreman and all his kids are called George. You'll have to sort out a nickname.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony, did you want to get to that's one of my favorite parts of the show, and I think one of your favorite parts of the show?
Yeah, we have a rapid fire section, Joel, that will throw some questions at you. It's got to the point where we started out with a couple of questions, but now we've got to the point where we're divided into 2 sections. So okay. I'm gonna have Phil cue the sound effect. Okay, here we go with almost rapid fire. And the first question, a musical question, the Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
The Beatles.
Mushy or garden peas?
Garden peas.
Red or brown sauce on your bacon butty?
Brown sauce.
And this is for Mark Hughes, red or white wine?
White.
With your full English, would you have black pudding or without?
Without, I'm afraid, yeah.
And if you watch soap operas, would you watch Coronation Street, being from Manchester, or would you watch EastEnders?
Coronation Street, 100%. I think everyone in the UK can agree with that.
Yeah. And this is from Sean McConville, and we know the answer to this. It's been 100%. Do you prefer natural grass or AstroTurf?
Oh, natural grass, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty standard on that one. I think Sean had a little bit of a point to prove by adding that one.
Yeah, so. That's come up in the meetings quite a bit. We've all had a debate many times.
Yeah, well, you know where that's come from anyway. So now over to Phil for his section.
Okay, and we've got a couple other music questions here, and this one it's kind of the modern day version of Beatles versus Rolling Stones. So this would be Oasis or Blur.
Oasis.
I think that's another 100% one so far.
Yeah.
And then we've got one from Darren Woodhead, and there's a little bit of a backstory that I'll spare you on this one, but Whitney Houston or Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton.
All right.
Oh. Yeah. I was going to say, we don't have many choose Dolly Parton, so that's nice to get the vote for Dolly.
Yeah, I thought that. Right. Go for that one.
And then we've got a couple here that are North American based. And like we said, Tony is originally from Accrington, lives in Canada now. Canada's signature dish is poutine, which is chips, gravy, and cheese. Is this something you'd like to try?
Possibly on my off day.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that at 2:00 on a Saturday.
Yeah, no. Big deal there.
Well, you see, I think it works because you got your chippy. They got all those ingredients, and they could throw it together easy at the chippy. Anyway, sorry, Phil.
Oh yeah, easy.
Oh, no problem. And then this one is my question, because here in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I'm at, we like hot and spicy foods, and we put jalapeno peppers on our pepperoni pizza. Would you want your pizza with or without jalapeno peppers?
With.
All right, good.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. You'll need to find Darren Woodhead, who's the author of 50 Years of Accrington Stanley, because my understanding is he has the only jalapeno stockpile in Lancashire. So.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And then we had actually one last one that we've added in today. The season 2 of Sunderland Till I Die has come out on Netflix. Are you going to watch that or no?
I think I'll pass. Yeah. I'll pass that one.
Good answer. Right answer, Joel. Yeah. Right answer.
Didn't give the first season a bother either, so I'm afraid.
Yeah, that just came out today, so we wanted to kind of find out if that's something that the players actually watch or not.
I'm sure a few do, to be fair, but yeah, it's something that doesn't tickle my fancy, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the football team? Is it Phoenix Rising?
Yeah, Phoenix Rising. I'm a season ticket holder for there, and Peter Ramage is a guy that's a coach over.
Yeah, my old teammate plays him. Is it Corey Whelan?
Oh, Corey Whelan. Yeah. He came over last season, and he's in the back four. I want to say that he started at center back. We only played one game, and then they had to stop the season, but yeah, it looks like he's going to be starting at center back this year for us.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's one of my old teammates, to be fair, at Liverpool. He's a very comfortable player on the ball and so on. I think he'll do good there.
Yeah, he's really impressed us. He actually came over about halfway through last season, and it was about 2 weeks between him getting in town and getting into the starting lineup. And we're just really excited. I know he's excited. An extension, so he's going to be here a few years.
Yeah, good. It's nice to see obviously players, making them decisions and putting themselves out there, because the show that you see a lot of foreign players coming to England and not too many English players going abroad and trying to learn another culture. So I was pretty impressed with his decision to go and do that.
Well, we're happy to have him here. If an offer from the USL or the MLS came your way, is that something you would ever consider coming stateside?
I think definitely. Obviously, like I said, I'm still 24, but I think at some point, when I look back at my career and I had choices to maybe experience other cultures and other countries and try and really, obviously put it down as what I've experienced. I think it's something I'd like to have said I've done. Because you don't get many other jobs, do you, at the end of the day?
Yeah, it seems like things are really growing over here, and there's definitely a market for backline players over here, because I know that the defensive side of the ball kind of lags behind on this side of the pod. So we'd love to see you over here sometime. After you're finished with Accrington.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure. It may happen, but like I said, there's
a big football network, if I using the right phrase, isn't there, Phil, in the States, where there's a lot of leagues and teams that are established now in the States, and unfortunately they don't get the publicity as like in a country like in the UK, because of the other major leagues that sort of dominate the sports scene. But it certainly is, from a fan perspective, certainly taken off in the States.
Yeah, in the last 10 years, I think especially, I think that certainly when David Beckham came over, that was a game changer, and now he's got his own team here, and then you're starting to see guys where it used to be where guys would come over and maybe play their last 2 years of their career here, but had a guy like Zlatan Ibrahimovic who came over that he could still play in any league in the world, and then came over here and played for a few years. And I mean, the level of play is definitely coming up over here, and I'm excited for the future of football or soccer, as we call it over here. Tony, what other questions did you have for Joe here today? I had one more, but what other ones did you have?
Well, I wanted to just mention, and I saw this online and I thought was quite interesting, and we talked to a couple of the other players been involved with the FIFA game in the community, and you've been involved with that with Jordan, Joe, and Jerome, and getting out. How do you find that, and how important is the community work with a club like Accrington?
Yeah. I think it's vital. I think at any club you go to, it's important. You have to put back into the community. You have to do all these visits. I'm one of them. We get a form at the start of each season, and you get the option. If you are interested, or it's something maybe you're not too comfortable with, and I'll always take. It's something I'll put myself forward for everywhere I am, So I think it's vital, that these fans put their hard-earned money that they work for into us, and obviously buy the tickets each Saturday. I think it's only right. We should be going there visiting them. We should be visiting the schools, should be visiting the communities, and I'll do that every single day. It's something I take pleasure in doing. Unfortunately, with the FIFA side, I don't actually have it myself, but just bad choices there. I'm not the best on it, so each time I played that, I've not really got very far.
Oh.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's more about seeing the kids smile, and you're interacting with them. You've seen who their idols are growing up. You're learning more about people in Accrington, and that's where I've been. I've always been very comfortable with doing that because I just enjoy putting smiles on people's faces. I do that in my off time. I'll do that at football, wherever it is. I think it's vital. Every player should do it, I think.
And were you involved in the shirt giveaway that Andy Holt puts on?
I think we all had to do that.
Okay.
I remember right. Yeah, I think that wasn't a choice. I think I think everyone had to get their shirt and sign it and do that.
But I think it's a
great program that he does there, because that, to me, giving a kid a shirt at 8 years old with the Accrington crest on it, you're getting a fan for life at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when we had so many schools coming in, I've never seen that in my life. I didn't mind it. So we stood there all day. But when you've seen each school and each kid come in, and their eyes lighting up when you see us all waiting with the shirts, we had scarves, we had gloves, we had everything, and they all thoroughly enjoyed it. So it's you do that any day, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't think you'd have to tell a player to do that. Not at Accrington. I think if you every player would sign up and be happy to be a part of it, regardless of being told. I think that's a given. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, one last thing that we had for you here today, this one is actually from Peter Latham, who is, of course, the chairman of the official Accrington Stanley Supporters Club, and generally is one that arranges these interviews. And we have a segment called Peter's Corner, because Peter always sent us in a question. And his question for you was that we understand that you have a lot of interest outside of football. He said that you're an artist, and he wants to know about the owl boxes that you were making the other day.
Basically, my partner has her family have a place in the Lake District, and the owl keeps, destroying stuff in the outer house, and it keeps doing bloody number twos everywhere, doing a mess going. So. I just thought, you know what, we need to put an end to this. I need to get my house so we can, stop going everywhere onto all over the roofs, but he vandalising everywhere. So I made him a little house. He's got his little chicks in there now, actually. We heard them this morning. But yeah, well, my dad was a joiner, so he comes. I had to do a lot of jobs when I was a kid, so it's quite handy, with all that sort of stuff.
Oh, great. And now you're a climber, too, I understand. You do some mountain climbing, is it?
Yeah, well, whenever I get a chance, whenever I get 2 days off or the one day off on the Sunday, I find it important, obviously, because football is such a full-on thing where, 24 hours of a day. It's not just like with boxing where you have a 6-week training camp. It's a full year round of every day. It's football. So I find it important on Wednesdays and Sundays. I have hobbies, so, I'll have art class on Wednesdays. I'll have climbing on Sundays. I'll have just random activities that I'll do that I can think of. It's mainly art and climbing. So yeah, on Sundays mainly I'll go do some climbing, some hiking. Yeah, anything. Like I said, I do enjoy the adrenaline rush. So it's
I'm sure that gives you a chance to kind of clear your mind and not have to think of football for a few hours, so you just be out there with nature.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the best thing for it. I do try to encourage it. I have got a few. I think it's Harvey Rogers, a few other players. Say go on hike, and they're really enjoying it. They're out there just. They're not on the phones, they're not on the Xboxes, obviously, that you don't want to be on or inside. They're out enjoying it in the outdoors, and that's how I think everyone should be. Like you said, for mental state, it clears your mind. If it's a loss or if it's a win or anything, if it's a win, I'm sure you don't need your mind clearing. You're still probably buzzing from it. But if it's a loss, the best thing you can do is go out, take a walk, or with me, it's reading or do some art. And I think that's important for me as a person. That's something I've always done anyway.
Well, you've got some beautiful countryside around Accrington, Pendle Hill, and all that. And then up in the lakes. I mean, you've got some lovely, lovely walks up in that area that you can do. So, and it's funny though. At the end of every one of those walks, there always seems to be a pub.
Yeah, that's the thing. You'll finish there. Obviously, not going to have a training next day, but you can finish a nice walk and you can have a nice local. You support the local community and have a pint from their brewery there. He said, and the good thing is I like the walks. Everyone there, you couldn't get it in the town centre, but everyone you meet there, you can let onto and have a chat and ask how their walk's doing, which walk they did. You can imagine, obviously, you're walking down Manchester town centre, you get up to someone and say, hi, how are you? How's your day? It's like, who are you talking to? On a walk, you can sit, relax with them, share thoughts, obviously what you're doing, interact with different people. And obviously, it's good to meet new people. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, without a doubt. I couldn't agree with what you're saying more. And what you're saying is just what makes us such fans of Accrington from all the way here across the pond. It's just the close-knit family type atmosphere, and every person that comes on just says it's not a football club, it's a family, it's part of the community, and we just love it. And now, Tony, I had finished up my questions. Did you have any else for Joe that we hadn't asked him yet?
No, I think we've covered the things I wanted to talk about. I was interested in his Liverpool past, and obviously it's nice to find out about his hobbies too. I thought that was quite interesting. So no, I'm good. Yeah.
Joe, did you have anything that we hadn't asked you about that you wanted to talk about today?
No, obviously the main thing is at the minute is I'm sure you'll reiterate that. I hope all the Accrington fans stay safe, obviously, with what's going on. It's the main thing for me, and most thing that's on my mind at the minute is just, hoping everyone stays healthy. I just want to reiterate that for everyone, obviously at the club and outside the club, and you guys, everyone, all your families. I think that's the main thing. I just wanted to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to see everybody safe and healthy, and not any empty seats at the next game, because we just want everybody to be safe and healthy, and you couldn't have said it any better, and I think Tony would agree with that too.
Yeah. I just all I want to say is be safe and be well, and personally, Joe, I want to see you continue your career, grow, and hopefully it's with Accrington Stanley, and wish you all the best to you and your family.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot. And like I said, I'm sure it will. And I've got plenty of goals that I still need to achieve at Accrington especially. So, I'm sure it'll be a long term. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I couldn't have picked a better club to join.
Excellent.
Well, we're really glad that you picked Accrington. And like Tony said earlier, you're just starting to hit the prime of your career now. So we look forward to many more great seasons for you. And thank you so much on the show, and hopefully we could do it again soon.
Yeah, I'd love to do it again. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Cheers.
Joe. On Stanley on.
Yeah.